found if there was 4, maybe it would be easy, but it's sort of it uses up half the time moving a microphone.
I'm just trying to look out for you.
Yeah, it's all good.
He is taking care of us.
So here we are. I guess we should probably do, for those who haven't wandered around, do introductions. My name is Brian Drummond, and in Dragon Ball Z, which is what we're here to talk about, I was the original voice of Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z when it first came out, so the bozo that said the over 9,000 meme, and I also played Yajirobi and Python and a couple of other characters, but of course Vegeta was the main one I played before the show moved to Dallas to be recorded. Chris Savage did a phenomenal job now. But we actually continue to do the series in Canada. We're based out of Vancouver. I did anyhow, and 2 other ones here that are from the Canadian cast. And we did all the rest of Dragon Ball Z, which was seen in Canada, and the UK, and Ireland, and a few other places. While kids in the US were like, the voices changed. Odd. And then they just went on with their lives. So that's my story.
I started, my first character was Garlic Jr. I'm gonna push you into the dead zone! That was followed by Android 17, and then I did Emperor Pilaf and Kibito, Master Shen, Mr. Shu, Invisible Guy, and a truck driver who drove a truckload of paper clips.
Paper clips, heavy load, get out of the way!
I don't remember seeing Invisible Guy.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
I'm Ryan Dobson. Guilty as charged as playing Majin Buu with all the boos except for the big brown and fat one. Dr. Gero and Hiroshi.
Oh, did I mention Android 17? Because I kicked your head off.
Well, this is
Yeah.
We've got an interesting relationship here.
Yeah,
he took care of me.
She's in Android 13 too.
Look at my trucker head. Check it out. Check it out. What's the H stand for?
I'm Saffron Henderson, and I, along with the Bryans over here, was in the first version of our English dub Dragon Ball, starting with BLT in like 1994 or something like that. And then moving over to Ocean, but with Funimation, and then.
Who'd you play?
Oh, that's not important. I was the original Kid Goku, and then Kid Gohan.
Woo!
Some of the 2 of the most dear characters I'll ever get to play. And when I haven't done conventions for a long time, and when someone asked me to go to ConAcon in April, I said to a friend, I don't know, I just, no one knows who I am, and I've kind of been in my cage, and
You don't know these people.
yeah, I don't know. And then they said to me, well, you could go there and be all weird, or you could go there and realize that a lot of these people in their 20s and 30s, like, had their fishy crackers in one hand and their blankie in the other, and saw these little tiny guys being strong and defending their dad, and being brave little characters, and might have been inspired by that. And I was like, whoa, new level, right? Wow. When we did this show, we weren't sitting there thinking, I'm changing lives. It's really just amazing when someone comes up to you and says, that show got me through a hard time, or that character made me feel like I could do anything, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my piece.
Peace, and that's us.
All right, great panel. Thanks for coming out, guys.
Oh, come on.
Hold on. Well, the best way usually to roll with these, since we don't have a moderator asking us questions, is to take them from you guys and see what you want to know about Dragon Ball Z and our involvement with it over the many years that we've been involved.
That's right. We began recording with rocks.
Exactly. We started with 5, just started the studio. Bob Cratchit warming up the studio with gold.
Actually, there are these in Ocean, where we did the Ocean dub.
Yeah.
There are these like they haven't changed the carpet. This is 20 whatever years ago. haven't changed the couches in the lounge, haven't changed the booths. And there's like a cabinet that says magnetic tape, do not open,
Yeah.
do not touch. And that's, you know, like when we started recording that show, they were using
Tape.
like 2-inch, quarter-inch, I don't even know,
Yeah.
but isn't that crazy? And things have
Yeah,
changed.
which made it a big process because you need to get to the scene, it's not like you just go and roll the way through digitally like you can now. It's just like, okay, you're not seeing, just give us a second, and then they, fast forward button, and everyone takes a little.
Everyone takes a break. Yep.
Screen like that, okay, oh, there we are, oh, went a little too far, let's just pull that back here.
Oh, we're gonna have to get that again, we lost it.
Yeah.
For younger people to even know what it looks like to fast forward something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
huge, you don't even know what that looks like. You guys don't know until you put a pencil in a cassette and had to rewind.
Oh,
Yeah, the tape's too tight. Get the pencil through.
Tapes from Blockbuster that you had to rewind before you return.
Yeah.
Rewind. Does anyone have a question? You wanna put up a hand?
Yeah, throw a hand up and we'll start taking some.
And you can go directly to one of us or just a general and we'll all.
Get you in.
Let's go back there,
Yeah,
fella, you
let's go.
raised your hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Blue
Go ahead
t-shirt.
and stand up so we can hear you. That would be amazing. Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Luis, by the way. I just want to say, well, first off, I'm from Venezuela, and I watched Dragon Ball Z Kai. It was literally my first ever anime in my life. Cartoon Network, early 2000s. I don't know how when exactly. I remember I was born in 2001, but around like 2005, 2007, around that era. Third World Country Cartoon Network in Spanish, by the way, like the Latino version. Tell Z Kai from the Saiyan saga all the way to Cell, to retain to Gohan being Cell. And I even binge watched the extended version where there's the Magic Buu saga in Spanish also, all the way till the end. And I would literally remember and then would memorize exactly at what times was Dragon Ball airing in Cartoon Network. And I wouldn't care anything that is going on in my life. I would just sit down in my bed, in my room, with my TV, turn on the TV, and just wait for Dragon Ball to appear. Because Dragon Ball has literally just, it's just, I mean, like, anime in general, it's just literally, like, it's been my life. But Dragon Ball was literally the first anime that actually, it made me like escape a lot of like problems that's going on through my life, and I really just like appreciate that. Just not just like hero for making it, but just the actors who showed all these characters I just amazingly to connect with. I honestly connect with Gohan the most. Honestly, in my deepest opinion, I honestly connect with Gohan. I love Gohan the most out of all of the other characters. All the characters are amazing. I love Goku's and Vegeta's reactions to each other. This is the funniest thing. But it's just Gohan honestly is one of my comfort characters. Honestly, Gohan is just there's a lot of things I relate to him. Especially I related to Super Saiyan 2 Gohan the most out of all the other Gohans. Like just the strive just to not show his inner self and just like holding all these emotions and just like trying to like caring for people and just trying not to like explode and try to like cause any harm because like maybe he's scared of like his true self that he believes that he might be. But like because I'm a pacifist, but I bottle my emotions.
Would you like to cry right now?
when I go home. No, I'll do it watching Violet Evergarden. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. You don't even watch it, but that's a very good one anyway. But I know even better. I think an anime that a lot of people know about, and like honestly, I think her name is Komi. She gave that speech. She's socially like, you know what I'm talking about? I love it. Okay, so really, I recommend it. Like this anime is like so long. I watched the first episode only, and I cried. Like literally, and this is why I love anime so much. Like anime is something that like you can escape and just like you can connect with so many characters. All the characters that I've met, I just just like, I cried, I laughed, I got mad, I think I once punched the wall once because of anime. Like, I was like, I really couldn't relate, I felt like I was there. When like,
Anime too can cost your parents money when you watch it.
I can make a kill, actually was the not even first anime that made me take a break from anime. Because when mine died, I literally just took a 2-week break. I was like, I'm done. Because like, how can you, like, because I tend to put in the shoes of the main character, and like this chick liked the main character and they liked each other. Well, no, he's not the main character at the end. It's a plot twist. But they liked each other and then she died and they kissed and then she died. And then the next episode, he acted like, whatever. I'm an assassin, it's a professional job, so I shouldn't be caring about emotions, I'm just moving on. How can you move on from something like that? Like, literally, I'm emotional, I was like, I would literally put some like filler, like a just like having like a mental breakdown for like a couple days and then going back to work. Because literally, like, how can you just move on like that? Just like, yeah, whatever. Like, she died, whatever. It's just, I gotta save the world now, okay? Save the world is more
You're
important.
awesome. Does anyone else have that happen for them? Those feelings?
Evoke that kind of emotion.
Escape and.
Yeah, in the front here.
Getting your emotions out. Like that's
It was when
awesome.
Goku died. Goku died.
Like, really, like, I think, like, anime, and like, I love also talking to people who honestly, like, they have not a hate, but just like, I don't know, a dislike to anime, any way, shape, or form, because I literally told them about anime, and thanks to me, they actually, like, I used to actually listen to my advice, and actually like anime now.
Yeah.
And like, I honestly hate when people say, I hate all the answers, I hate all the gore, I hate it's so childish, like it's so cheesy. I'm like, bro, calm down. Okay, so first of all, anime is for all genres, all people. Like any genre you can think about, it's an anime for me.
You may have to take this energy
Yeah.
to the people who created this con and have your own panel.
You should
That's
have.
about why I love anime. And you can say, I'm gonna do the why we love anime, and you can ask all the questions.
We have another question in the front.
Yeah, we're gonna take another question. Just
Yeah.
go ahead, go for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
For all of your characters, what is your favorite transformation of your character, current and old?
Of all the characters, what's my favorite which?
Like, what is your favorite form of your own character for all of them?
Favorite transformation.
Favorite form.
I mean, like Super 17 as well.
Yeah, well, it's probably got to be Super when Vegeta goes Super Saiyan the first time. It's that I mean because the drive to get there to that was it seemed to be the longest space. Once you knew it could happen once, it was different after that. But that was to me that was probably the biggest one when I was working on that.
Mine, the one that made me laugh for Vegeta is when he went Majin and was Goku.
Yeah. That's well, I'm wearing the hat today. So. Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, no.
People generally don't appreciate GT as much as they appreciate DBZ or Super or Dragon Ball, but I like GT and I like Super 17. Super 17 was a really fun character.
Yeah.
Majin Buu, of all the forms that he had, I guess Super and Evil would be my favorite of the transformations.
Does it,
Kid Buu was good, but man, he was taxing.
for Super Boo, what Hugh's version of him did you like?
Well, the Super Buu, like in his big form,
Yeah.
it was far easier for me to transfer the vocal range.
Besides having Hughes with Gohan.
Completely, yeah. I also played a future Gohan character.
Yeah, I remember
as
that.
well,
Yeah.
and that was another pitchy voice that was kind of like, woo! Help with my But yeah,
You do future Gohan for me, because I don't know him so well.
I can't do it right now. It's too
Oh,
It's too high.
well, it is that high.
I'll do it, I can do future Gohan.
No, give me a taste.
Okay.
There he is.
That sounds taxing.
Well, we have another question back here, behind you there. Can you stand up? There, yes.
Hello.
Here it comes.
You got it. Wake up.
Where did Goku power come from?
Where did Goku's powers come from?
Goku's powers come.
Ooh, Saf.
Well, of course, from within. But I mean, think about, there was Grandpa Gohan, who obviously passed down tremendous powers and also the whole concept of the Dragon Ball.
Opinion-wise, where do you, in here, does Goku's power come?
Yeah,
That is a good question. Does anyone else?
what do you guys think about where it really comes from? Let's have talk to somebody who hasn't spoken yet. Patty, yeah?
That's a good one. I have to say, because as a child, he fell into a valley, bumped his head, and forgot his complete Saiyan heritage, too. So he doesn't know his Saiyan heritage, even though probably unknowingly does come from there. But
It really is.
But also, it comes from inside, and also his greater power has come from the friends that he's made along the way.
Yeah, I was thinking about trainers and friends and people who teach him what.
Even oddly enough, even the villains he's faced
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
I think his power comes from the etheric energy surrounding all nature, matter, space, and
Yeah,
time, and he
yeah.
creates a sort of gravitational sink well within his soul, which
Yeah.
then fills up with that
It's
power.
like he draws power from his environment. Well, there's a question back here.
Could one of you or all of you reenact one of your favorite power-ups from the series?
I'll do Android 17. He has the great joy of his power-ups are massive. Here we go. This is what it sounds like. It's like all he does.
Well, you got it, 17 screws a little louder.
17 doesn't do like, I'm
He
so
doesn't
sorry.
want to sleep or anything. He doesn't.
How did you get that power up?
Infinity energy, that's why.
That's right.
All I remember, let me tell you, is just, it hurts, and, but mostly because, they go on for so long. And you have to try to find the ways, and all I remember is trying to get a big enough breath to start in a place where it's like, and then you gotta find somewhere to ramp to, and keep going. And until your voice is literally starts to shatter.
The key is not to use too much breath at the beginning, for sure. Like,
Yeah, you
tough.
gotta
Yeah.
take
take it easy.
You gotta get started.
Yeah.
Don't want to force it out.
Take it easy, take it slow.
Definitely don't want to force it out.
Well, it got forced out eventually, but it's true, we were directed like, don't blow it all at the beginning.
No.
Because you need to watch this scene again and see how long it goes, and they would play the Japanese for us. And those guys, we called it the OJ, that was,
Original
we
Japanese.
would now say OG, but in ADR it's always been OJ, the original Japanese. And, they sounded like they could go for days at this shriek level that I couldn't even achieve. And I know that they used effects, like they'll elongate, they'll overlap takes, so that you've got just this big mess of yelling, but it was crazy, it was shredding.
It was, because they'd have us do these power up fights that would last, like, you'd be going, and then they want you to cut right away, so, okay, beep's going, get beep, 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 and you might do that 6 or 7 times, right? And you just seam them all together to create this, scene of me tearing mountains and throwing them apart.
And the challenge is, if you don't, it was so much more difficult when they weren't doing digital, if you don't end in time,
Yeah.
if you go over a cut that's like a
Guess what?
completely different scene somewhere else, they can't just chop it off and snip, or it sounds like it goes, it clips and ends, and it has to fade out and naturally go away, so it's like, that was great, Brian, it's just a little bit too long. I'm like, oh, That means go again, so you gotta do the whole thing over again, and if it's a little short, oh, his mouth is still open for that much more, we gotta do one more, so it'd be over and over and over on the same screen, and when we, and this is probably part of the reason why the show moved from Vancouver to Texas, where we have a union in our, where we do it, it's the Union of BC Performers, part of ACTRA, which is like SAG in the US. But we're paid a certain line rate, so we're paid per line for what we do. So the better you are and the more lines you can do in an hour, you can make pretty good money. But initially, with dubbing, they had a bit of a gray area, and it was called walla. And walla was, if there's a sound you make or some kind of a sound that's not dialogue, they don't have to pay for it. So if it's like, whatever, weren't gonna pay for it. But in Dragon Ball, it was this weird show that came along where it wasn't just tripping or jumping somewhere where they didn't want to pay a line of dialogue. They didn't call this any screams or fighting dialogue.
Oh, you got paid nothing for that?
So we got paid nothing for any screams.
Yeah.
So you'd scream and scream and scream.
It's a freebie.
And it turned into a bit of a boycott almost by the performers, where our union had to change the dubbing rules so that that wasn't considered walla. That's considered a character's line of dialogue. No, they're not speaking words, it's still that character's
16
dialogue.
seconds of screaming.
I know, so it changed, and that probably actually, my assumption would be it increased the cost to do business for the production company to record in Vancouver. It's like, oh, now we gotta pay for all the screams, oh man, now it costs this much to do Vegeta and this much to do Goku, and they pack their bags and.
In Texas, we were paid $35 an hour, and they would book you based on the line count. But if you could finish it in an hour, you got paid for all 4 hours. And they had something, Sabbath had something called a Chuck Huber session, which is where he'd book me at the end of the day for like 4 hours from 1 to 5, and I'd finish by like 2, and then they'd go to the bar.
Yeah.
It's a Chuck Huber session.
Where do we go? Give me the front hand.
Which is the one character, like non-canon character from the fillers, you wish would be made canon? For us, I think I probably speak for some of us, or most of us, Python. Because I was dying to have Python come into Super as part of Universe 7, and they just decided to go easy route and bring in Frieza.
Yeah, it would have been nice. I voiced Python in TPC in Canada, so that was a fun role to do, but it's hard to know. There's so many side characters and so many routes you can take for storylines, but every actor would probably want their role to be the one that comes back.
Garlic Jr.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's saying got copy Vegeta, or his own, maybe we'll grab it back here in the green shirt.
What would you say would be the toughest character each of y'all have played? Like, obviously we know the easiest one or the most enjoyable. What was actually the most difficult? And if you say Garlic Jr., you're a liar.
Garlic Jr. was easy. It was my first character, so I had nothing to base it on.
Possibly my favorite enemy as well.
Nice. I actually auditioned for Garlic Jr. And Saba was like,
Man, that was great. That was awesome, man. That's really good. You got time to record it right now?
and I was like, I got the part.
He's like, yeah, we're kind of on a deadline. You got a couple hours.
Finish some episodes, and I was like, this has never happened to me acting before in my entire life.
Do it now. Yeah.
I auditioned and then immediately did the role.
Wow.
So do I got the part? Yeah. You're gonna play in this scene.
Right
this scene,
now.
this scene.
Start recording it.
We recorded your first line already in the audition, so we'll keep that. Keep moving.
Emperor Pilaf wasn't very difficult the first time I did it, but the second time I did it, I was 15 years older or whatever, and those ranges up there didn't come as easily. I was like, oh crap, that's a little harder, and I had to kind of tighten my belt and get my abs going and really push to make the same sort of sounds I was making 15 years before. But now I've got it back. But it took me.
I got you. How about you?
Dr. Gero was a difficult one, and it wasn't for the vocal quality. It was just when we were doing it, I went through a stage with that character where we were doing that part, where it was two different directors that I was working with. Remember Bev?
Yes, whatever happened to Bev?
I don't know, but it was a weird thing, because I'd already had pre-established this character, everything was going well, and this other director had come in and started wanting to change the print I'd already made with this character, which is a horrible thing to happen to any actor if you really kind of established something that's going on, and it was very awkward. I was getting challenged with pronunciations of names that I'd already pronounced. They wanted me to pronounce Dr. Gero, because there's songs saying, I'm Dr. Gero, and then she wanted it Jaro, and I was like, no, it's not Jaro. And if you listen to some of the YouTube dubs, if you go on YouTube and listen to some of the Ocean dubs, you can see some of these pronunciation changes, and if you look at the fan comments, is what's going on, and how people slayed me. Like it was your fault. Like it was my fault, but I mean, no one had any idea that I was up against this wall of like, I'm being forced into something that is wrong, and
The two walls being the two producers, I got it.
yeah, so in a different sense, yeah, that was a difficult challenge to be faced with, because what do you do?
Well, and a lot of times we don't have control over that at all. These name changes. There's a show, which I can't talk about what one it is, but I'm working on a W1 right now where you gotta go back and redo pronunciations because one director got it wrong and someone else, and they even have a whole track that's set aside from the main production company how to say every name. And some of their versions of the name isn't how the Japanese say it. So you'll listen to the Japanese, actually you'll hear them say the name in the track, and that's not how they want it. They've given us a different way to, so you hear it one way by the actual Japanese performer, and then you have it in your own head a way that you might read it, and then you have the way that the production company wants it. So sometimes it just gets missed by different people, and there was a whole chunk of one name on a show, I can't say it, but we're working on, that everybody was saying the name right for about 20 episodes. Then another director came in, everyone was saying it wrong for about 20 more episodes. Then we could go back, everyone had to redo all the lines and get the name right. And sometimes it gets missed, it ends up on some streaming service or on TV, and they're ripping the actors. What's wrong with Dobson? That's not how you say the name.
Some of the comments, I was like, no,
Wasn't me.
It's not my
Never read the comments.
Well, I've learned that, yeah.
I had a little bit that my and shao, or shu, it went back and forth many times, whether Emperor Pilaf's henchmen were my and shao or my and shu. We had to go back and record it. And then we recorded it wrong, and then had to re-record it. It was very confusing.
Re-records.
It was like, this is above my pay grade. It's not my choice.
Where should we go here?
Hold on, okay, you and then you're next, I promise.
What was your guys' favorite lines of voice?
Which one?
Favorite lines of voice?
Favorite lines?
And Super, Android 17 says, look at me being all human. I really like that. That was a really cool one. The sort of evolution of the character. You're like, oh wow. You go back to when he first came and then to where he was later. It's like, that's a good growth.
Are you talking specifically DBZ line to voice, or any character to voice in any show?
Dragon Ball.
Of course, that's why we're here. I always liked it. When I finally came around to voicing Kid Buu in a place that was comfortably to get there, he had all these little quotes, and when he came up with the Buu kill you, I really,
I still love the most, leave my dad alone when Gohan says that.
oh,
Because for me, that was a moment when he sort of transcended where he'd been at, because he has lots of moments where he's scared and, shaking and hiding behind someone, and he comes out and really lays it down and sticks up for his dad. And that I have sons, and I think about them and the way that as they're growing up, they're becoming protective of their dad. And of course, in the studio, I'm just like crying. I do the big line, leave my dad alone! It goes on for about 5 minutes. And then I'm just like, shook, because it's like huge moment for this little teeny weeny, right? Like he really, that line although someone pointed out that, I don't know if it was Goku or Gohan said, your mom smells like toenails or something, and I was like, that's a good line, that's a nice line. So I forgot.
Wow. Lines are weird for me. I don't know, whatever the moment I don't, and you probably like this for most of us, I don't remember most of them the moment I walk out of the studio after doing it. You're kind of in them, it's almost like, it's a good question when because you think we have these favorite memories, but most of them are created by the fans that tell me what their favorite lines are. And it starts to become the ones that I think are mine because everyone else enjoys them so much. It's almost, it's sort of like if I asked someone who worked at Starbucks, what was your, for 25 years, like what was your favorite latte to serve? Someone would be like, well, there was the time Robin Williams came in and I made him a latte. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember when you do something as much as we do, and you're in the moment when you're doing it and really enjoying it. I don't know if that's the same if working at Starbucks, but you're in the moment enjoying it. But when you leave, it's like my brain kind of goes right away to working on the next project. And what do I have to do now? I hope the directors and everybody seem to have what they want, and I move on in my mind. But going to the conventions is what's giving me, is what tells me what lines are the favorites. Like, of course, the ones that become memes and the It's Over 9,000 and things like that. They start to just feel like, that must be my favorite line. But I know I don't even remember doing the line when I actually did it. I have to go back and watch. I'm like, oh, that's how I did it. God, that's terrible. And that's why it's a meme. Jeez. And it sort of becomes, after a while, it's such a fun moment that it becomes a favorite, right, after a while. So it's tricky to sort of pick favorites in this business, I guess. We were going back over here for a question.
Well, Chuck, did you get the?
Oh,
I said mine, didn't I?
Second
Okay,
row
you
was
said
promise.
me,
I promise.
Right, you got a promise.
What first book did you make? What was the first book that you made?
The
Dragon
first,
Ball.
the first book? The mangas? Yeah, we didn't make the mangas. We just read them occasionally. Fans tell us about them.
So
Yeah.
those in Japan, yeah.
But those things are expensive. My girls right now are getting into manga and I'm like, whoa, oh yeah. But I'm like, take care of those, because those will be worth money later.
I still have trouble starting at the wrong side.
I can't.
This is so confusing, it's all happening back, oh wait.
You'll die.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is for Vegeta. How does it feel to be in Fortnite? Oh my god.
I know.
I don't play it, I just wanted to say that.
Do the Fortnite people have, do you guys have your voices in Fortnite, or is it just?
I think it's not Japanese.
Japanese Fortnite? Yeah, I was loving seeing a bunch of the dancing stuff showing up. I was like, this is amazing, like how often do you see Vegeta doing that? Right? It's very cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Anytime you see the show that you were a part of have success, you gotta be happy. The movie, my God, it's having a great couple of weeks, right? It's just, it will not stop. It's just you guys keep this train rolling, I'm telling you. It's amazing. Let's see one back here, maybe.
Dragon Ball Z means a lot of stuff to a lot of different people, so thank you guys for just being yourselves and doing what you do. I mean, I gotta say I'm well impressed at you for a reason. I wanted to ask Ryan, just, especially when you're starting out and you're coming up with like how you want to do Vegeta and stuff like that, was there anything in your own like personal life experience, either that's like somebody you knew or something you read or something you heard or just a vibe that you came across or something, like what are you pulling from your like, this is how I want to do Vegeta for this one?
That's tough. We don't get a lot to work with. When you audition for something, it's not like we saw, they show you 10 episodes of their arc when they first show up. You get to see all the scripts. You get a few lines. He says this, this, and this. You get a handful of lines and a character description. And it's way back in the early 90s. I didn't know anime from, like, I didn't even know what the word meant, really. I knew some shows that I probably watched, like Speed Racer or something, but I didn't even know that was anime. I didn't know.
Did you get a picture? Sometimes we get a
Yeah,
drawing.
sometimes you get a picture. I don't
A rough
recall
drawing.
ever seeing a picture of Vegeta. All I remember was character description. And that's usually where, based off on my acting experience, I'll try to draw from, I knew it said he was a prince. And he was arrogant and violent and diminutive in size, small, but very strong. And he was a prince of his own planet, which was named the same name as him. So I thought, princely, arrogant, so I'm probably just drawing from ideas of some snotty, arrogant, powerful prince type role, and that's where it sounds almost a little affected when I started it. And Chris, I know Sabbath, I think his has a bit of a affectation, a little bit almost of an, not English I would say, but you might say that, compared to Piccolo, which is very deep and standard. Sabbath's Vegeta has that sort of almost a bit of a English reality to it, and that probably was, that's what I did when I started was, he was sort of like, I put this sort of spin on him like, Nappa, you fool, you idiot, Kakarot. Right, it sort of had a little bit of that, but he sounds like a real turd. I just wanted him to be, sound, but I also wanted him to be seen strong, not weak. So I just put those couple things together, and I don't know, they thought that worked. I never heard the Japanese actor do theirs. I just threw something out there, and they were like, yeah, that guy sounds horrible. So let's do him. Anyone else? Was that just for me, I guess?
Yeah, no, I mean, just again, like I said, Dragon Ball Z got me into lifting weights and drawing and playing sports, and
yeah,
I owe all that directly to watching that show.
Oh, well, that's great. I've heard so many of those amazing stories that pull people out of different places, get them into fitness, or get them into getting through tough places, and powering up, strength, finding inner strength. Like it's amazing. Now, the things that never crossed, I will say they did not cross my mind when I'm doing the show. I'm just thinking, kill Kakarot, get the Dragon Ball, that's all that's in my mind when I'm trying to end start on time, end on time.
Yeah.
Don't blow your voice yet. Oh, in the front, yeah.
What was the saddest character for all of your characters?
Saddest?
Like, a character dying or like emotional feeling for your character.
Well, getting reverse poop up Cell's tail was pretty terrible for Android 17. I remember I had to make all the noises like I was going up his tail. And it came out of nowhere, and I was like, that's it? Android 17 is done? And they were like, yeah.
Next time, Dragon Ball Super.
How about red t-shirt over here? Your arm's getting sore.
Oh, what is your favorite character, Tim, or for the ones that you guys played?
Okay, so not a character we played, so other than our own characters.
So that question was, what's your favorite character other than what we played? Yeah.
Good
question.
Probably another character you would voice other than your normal.
I think you mean someone else in the show?
Yeah.
Like that you
Like
would
that we like watching
In the Dragon Ball world.
in the Dragon Ball world? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved Bulma. The original Bulma was saucy and strong and like a big sister. Saucy. But I really like Vegeta as little is it Goku or Gohan, where there's all that facing off of Vegeta's just being so mean and calling little brother and then like flying away and he's
You mean
like,
Raditz?
and he of all those qualities you talked about are why I love Vegeta. So it's just so like, I actually found a meme of him, I put it on TikTok, on one of my TikToks, of Vegeta sipping tea while Goku's laying there like, and because he flies away, Vegeta's like that, and I put the little guy sipping tea, I was like, that's so Vegeta. Just, yeah, it was a great meme, it's on TikTok. What about you guys?
I always like to call her, the character Piccolo. That was
Yeah.
I like Krillin.
Krillin, another good one,
Yeah.
He was fun. And he kept getting better and better as Super went on.
Good question.
Good one. And as villains, I love playing villains, so if I didn't get Vegeta, Frieza is
Oh, yeah.
great.
He left us all drooling, like all one.
Yeah, what a great one.
We wish we got that.
Let's go with the question all the way in the back there, young.
I was just wondering that, like, how did you actually start doing, like how did you start voice acting?
Another good question.
Sounds like a future voice actor there.
It does.
What way that voice was?
Yeah.
Nice and clear. Who's jumping on that one first?
You guys go.
I started when I was in elementary school, a young person like yourself. I loved the drama and the theater classes in school. I loved it when I took a drama class in grade 10 that I loved so much. I thought I wanted to be an actor, but then in grade 11 and 12, they canceled the drama program. There was no drama. Cutbacks, they always take the arts when there's cutbacks. And I hate that. But I had a friend invited me to do an amateur theater production because somebody dropped out. I was in band, and he thought, nah, he's a performer kind of, so maybe he'll do this show with us. And I loved it. And another person saw me in it, and thought I was so interesting that they said I should audition for this theater school in this big city of Vancouver. And I auditioned for this theater program, got in, trained there to become an actor, and fell in love with theater and film, and got my first job in a voice show shortly after that. And Vegeta was one of the very first voice roles I ever got. So it started in, as old as you are, in doing plays in elementary school. That's where it all started. And we didn't know as much about voice actors as you might right now. I watched things like Scooby-Doo and the Flintstones and Inspector Gadget and stuff like that.
Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny and Warner, but I didn't know who Tom and Jerry. I didn't know who any of those people were who did those voices. I didn't even know something people got paid for. I just thought this is funny. But then I found out it was something you could do. When I was older, I was really interested in doing it. So that's where I started, elementary school.
Similar, I always did acting in school and went to theater school and came out in theater and film. But like specifically, I got into Funimation because a friend told me about the audition. And that's one of the things I tell people, if you want to be in the voice acting world, like the opportunities come because you're with your friends who are also doing acting, and your friends tell you what's going on that you might have missed. So my friend was like, you should audition for this Dragon Ball Z thing. And he gave me a number, and I called and auditioned, and then I got Garlic Jr. was the first one.
This theater thing seems to be taking, I too started off with a theater program in school, and I worked with that until I got offered to, it was like an extended program that the school offered called Theater Cluster. And I delved into that and never looked over my shoulder. It was a really great opening training ground to get into voiceover, and broke a lot. I mean, I was a really shy guy too in the time. And I remember my theater teacher, Tony Burton, who was just an amazing instructor, helped break that shy and it really got me kind of prepared to kind of get into what this industry was going to be like. So I would recommend theater if you have a chance to go that direction very strongly.
Theater, friends, teachers, look at all these things.
I would recommend having your grandmother sit in a chair in an empty room and make you stand 15 feet away and read poetry correctly. And
That's
the
theater.
whole time we were doing that, I was like, why am I doing this? There's no point to this. She's my nana, I have to. My mother's like, don't shut your mouth. And so there we were doing this. I was like, I will never use this diction thing. Yeah, isn't that funny? Like these little things happen when you're a kid, and later you look back and you go, oh, like all these guys. Yeah, like you just little things that tweaked your interest or engaged you, or you just sort of devoured them because you were so fascinated by them. Those become your life. if you are able to follow them.
And you can come from lots of different backgrounds. As Brian said, you were shy.
Yeah.
You can be shy, it doesn't matter if you're shy, you can still end up doing voices. I was pretty gregarious kid. I was a talker that wouldn't shut up most of the time. My teachers in elementary school, I was in trouble always. Always. I would get, I don't even know if they do this anymore, but I would get what you call lines to write as punishment. You know how Bart Simpson has to write on a chalkboard? I would have to write them in my notebook. I will not talk in class. So I would write, because I'd turn around and say something, and I'd have to write, I will not talk in class, I will not talk in class. But I got them so often, and this was probably about grade 3 and 4, I got those lines so often, I started to write them in advance, and kept them in my desk, like currency. So I'd get 200 lines, I will not talk in class, and I was like, actually, 200. And then, until she saw me pull them out from there, and realized, what I'm gonna do is change his currency. So she changed what the line had to be. I will not talk in Mrs. So-and-so's class. And I'm like, my money's worth nothing. All of this I did for nothing. And had to
She's teaching you about the Federal Reserve.
The Federal Reserve, yeah.
Yeah.
So, good question for Chuck, actually. You voiced Android 17. How did you have like a reaction when you finally saw that your character got to interact with Goku finally?
Oh yes. Yeah, so Android 17 finally gets to interact with Goku in Super.
Oh.
And I was like, they are the perfect comedy duo. Because Goku's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's so full of life and bubbly. And Android 17's like, great. Just not having it at all, not having his energy, not having his attitude. They were really funny next to each other. I do remember the very first time I walked into the booth for Android 17, because I hadn't seen what he looked like. He was up on the screen, and I went, "Oh, who's that? She's hot." So I was like,
Sounds like that's you, man.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
I think my favorite thing today might be your director sound voice. Moro.
That's good, man. Yeah,
That's just good.
That's really good. That's really good.
We have one.
There's one.
Alright. This one actually goes out to Chuck. Did you actually enjoy going for Dragon Ball Super, voicing Android 17? Did you actually enjoy being able to converse with Goku again instead of being, stuck in the cell tail, like back in Dragon Ball Z kind of? Like, did you actually enjoy voicing for Super or no?
Yeah, no, you're kidding. Super was incredible. Like when they told me it was coming back and I was gonna get to do the like, you never know. As an actor, it's like the Dread Pirate Roberts. It's like, good job, I'll most likely kill you in the morning. So you never know when you're gonna and it's like, you want me back? Yeah, it's great. And then to find out my character is gonna do so much in that series and change so much. I woke up one day after everybody thought he was, over, his thing was over in Super, and he was trending on Twitter, and everybody's texting me, like, you're trending on Twitter, and I'm like, why? Because I wasn't following the Japanese, because I like to just sort of come to it fresh when I get to the studio, and I found out why, and I was like, that sucks, I'm dead. But then I tweeted, I said, nothing's ever over in anime. It is, it's never over. But yeah, it was the honor of my life. I mean, it's one of my top production things I've ever done.
And this is actually an edit on a question earlier that somebody said about y'all's favorite characters. I saw that you said specifically, does it have to be a Dragon Ball character? Let's go ahead and take that off. What was your favorite character to voice? Did you have a favorite character outside?
My career, you mean?
Yeah, if it's not a dragon.
Did you have a favorite one besides?
There was. I mean, I mentioned this to a panel the other day that there's an anime done years ago. Nobody knows about it. I'll quiz you. Anyone heard of Trouble Chocolate?
Yes.
My sister, she's actually.
Oh, you do?
Wow.
You've heard of it?
Trouble chocolate.
Very, I always throws it up because I know no hands will ever
No,
But
no.
it was one of those series I enjoyed doing so much. I played this character called Professor Big Ben. It's a series that's about this university of sorcery, and all these kids that are going in there to learn to become these crazy superpowers and whatnot. And the character I played was Professor Big Bang, and it was like a huge hulking Frankenstein kind of character that wore a cooking bib. And when he talked, he was like this most of the time. And if you got him upset, he would go through this transformation that would get him into a hulking rage that would go cockney and smash everything to bits. And it would be this constant to and fro transformation, and everyone was walking on eggshells around Professor Big Ben because obviously you didn't want to, I don't know if you want to say upset her or him or whatever you would. But yeah, it would always go off, and it was just this crazy rant. And that was definitely one of my favorites from outside of the iconic kind of stuff that you'd probably say, I knew you'd say that.
No, if I'm being honest, I was actually predicting you to say that Kid Buu was your most difficult, but
Kid Buu, well, it was in a way because I couldn't find. It was finding a comfortable place to get to do that voice, and the attack scenes were so intense. It was such a pinch in the voice. So, in a level of difficulty as far as taxing goes, yes, Kid Buu would definitely rank up there as in one of the number ones. That and Ben Grimm from Fantastic Four was one of my other favorites because I grew up with that character and like being able to scream over, it's clobbering time.
That's awesome. I got to play Tony Stark in a death battle. That was
seriously?
Nice.
Tony Stark versus Lex Luthor.
Yo!
It was also the first time I was ever on like a popular YouTube thing, and they were like, watch how many views it gets, and like they dropped it, and then it was like suddenly 250,000 views, and I was like, that's crazy. Like, instantly. So that was a fun one, but Tony Stark's very much in my wheelhouse in terms of character.
How about you, boss?
Mine would be, because it was my favorite character from comic books growing up, the fact that I got to play it for about 5 movies was Wolverine.
Wow,
So
you played Wolverine?
Yeah, so I did Wolverine in about 5 different movies, and he was always my favorite character. I desperately wanted to play that role. Scott McNeil played him in the series that was done in Vancouver. I was like, oh, I wanted Wolverine, so bad, curses, but when it came back around and I landed it, I think maybe I'd aged a bit more, and my voice was more sort of sitting in a different place. It was fun to get that role. When it's something that you grow up just loving, you're like, I am him right now, right? So it's something else, yeah.
You're learning something new every day. You played Wolverine. I didn't know you played Super 17 at first. I actually didn't know you played 17 in general. That actually shocked me.
That's why we have this panel. Secret, everybody, tell your friends. You gotta have, this is where the secrets come out of these panels that people don't know. You gotta get to them.
Did you have a favorite character outside of Dragon Ball that you played?
Well, I was thinking, like, I kind of liked, there was a My Little Pony that got killed off some specials ago.
They killed a pony?
What type of kid show is this?
Did they kill her?
Her name was Sky Wishes. She had a little kite on her butt and she never came back.
She flew away.
Okay, she flew away. They didn't tell me.
Thank you. You're like, you saw the body. You're like,
And I got to be a singing unicorn for a series, and that was really fun.
Nice.
But my favorite, besides the Goku and Gohan, might be from Hamtaro being Oxnard. He's just like, hi, my name's Oxnard. Has anybody seen the sunflower seed? And it's the easiest voice, and he's a little bit clumsy, and he's totally loving, and nobody dies. And nothing
And
violent
hamsters are as
occurs.
cute as
They get
heck.
chased by a cat sometimes, and it's terrifying. There's a bunch of little hams hanging out in the clubhouse, and I was like, this rocks. I could do like 50,000 episodes.
We got 3 minutes left, so time for one more question. All the way in the back.
Question for Brian. You said that your other favorite villain would be Frieza. Could you give us an example of how you would do him?
Oh, so.
Hold on. I can do Brian's Frieza.
Yeah, you ready? Me doing Frieza.
I'll do Brian doing Frieza.
try to attempt a version. Pauline Newstone, who did it for our Vancouver dub, has a voice that is almost
Unearthly.
unearthly.
To say the
It's
least.
amazing.
It's
That's
just
her
this
actual.
She just speaks like Frieza. She does not put Frieza on.
Wow.
That is her voice.
Wow.
So she walks through life, and you're like, if she taps at his shoulder, and it's like, it's Frieza. So I'm not even gonna do it because there's too many great ones out there. But if it hadn't been cast yet, I'd be throwing my name in the hat. Yeah. Great questions, everybody.
Back to the table.